Welcome to the Gunpla Space Factory. I am Factory Worker MS-1251A, and today we're going to be building and painting the new Leo kit from Bandai. This kit has been out for a few weeks, but my local hobby shop did not have it in stock as it sold out pretty fast, but the USA Gundam store had them in stock. So we placed an order, and after waiting a couple of days, it's finally arrived. Now that the Leo's here, let's get it into the assembly line. After opening the box and quickly going through the contents and instructions, I quickly snapped together the Leo. This video is going to focus more on the painting side of the build. If you wanted to see a more thorough build video, check out the Let's Build High Grade Leo over at the Mobile Suit Hanger channel. This kit was super easy to build. It only took me about an hour to snap this kit together. Snapped together right out of the box, the kit already looks fantastic. The Leo is amazing. I can see why it's highly praised. It was super fun and easy to build, and it just looks great. For a high grade build, I am super impressed. For a more thorough overview of the Leo, check out the Leo review video at the Mobile Suit Hanger channel. In my opinion, I don't think the Leo needs much to look great. With proper nub removal, a bit of sanding to remove the mold lines, some panel lining, and a flat top coat, I think the Leo would look amazing. But for this Leo, we plan to do the works. Painting it should really bring it to life. The real work starts tomorrow, so for now, we close up shop and get some proper rest. Early the next morning, I start taking apart the Leo, and began sanding the parts. Take note which parts need to be glued together to remove the seam lines. After a couple of hours of sanding, the parts go into the parts washer. After 10 minutes of shaking around, that removes most of the oils as well as the sanding particles that were left behind on the parts. After rinsing and straining the parts, I laid them all out to dry on a napkin. After letting the parts dry for a few hours, I placed all the parts on alligator clips. I affixed the small parts to a stick using double-sided stick tape. Next, I thin some Tamiya surface primer, 1 part primer, 1 part thinner, and load it into the airbrush. I bring the parts over to the spray booth and begin spraying them with primer. The new Mr. Hobby Pro Combo airbrush that I received in the previous orbital shipment is fantastic at laying down these primer coats. And after a couple of coats of primer surfacer, this is what the parts look like. I let the primer cure overnight. The next day, I began by thinning some Gundam Color MS Deep Green, 1 part thinner and 1 part paint, and load it into the airbrush. Again, I'm using my new Mr. Hobby Pro Combo airbrush. This thing is fantastic at laying down color coats as well. It was a hot and dry day. The paint was drying pretty fast, but the airbrush made it pretty easy to lay down the paint without orange peel. And here's the parts with 2 coats of paint. I set the parts aside to cure overnight. For some of the parts, a greenish gray coat of paint was required. I mixed the following Tamiya paints and did my best to match the color shown in the instructions. After some trial and error, I finally got the shade of green I was looking for. I load the paint into my new Pro Combo airbrush and began painting the small joints. I thinned this custom mix of paint, 1 part thinner, 1 part paint. My new Pro Combo airbrush is also great at spraying small parts. A few of the parts required to be sprayed with a darkish gray color, so I used Tamiya dark gray to spray them. Again, I thinned the paint, 1 part thinner, 1 part paint. That's pretty much how I always thin my paints. The Leo has a pair of orange parts that snap around the head. This orange was also a custom mix color that was a bit trickier to mix. It required the following Tamiya paints: X7 red, X6 orange, XF2 flat white, and XF53 neutral gray. Again, after some trial and error, I got the grayish orange I was looking for. And finally, I painted the thrusters with Monomaster Chrome Silver enamel paint. The camera on the head is a nice yellowish clear part. To make the camera stand out a bit better, I cut a small piece of tin foil and placed it behind the clear part. After letting the painted parts cure overnight, I quickly assembled the kit in order to panel line it. I'm using Tamiya black panel line accent color for the panel lining. At this stage, the Leo looks finished, but there's still a bit more work to be done. After letting the panel lining cure for a few hours, I partially disassembled the Leo. I then masked some of the ball joints and placed the parts on the alligator clips. For the final step, I will top coat the Leo with Alclad Flat Clear. This will protect the paint job and the panel lines on the Leo. It will also flatten the paint a bit more and lighten the color ever so slightly. The Alclad looks glossy at first, but after a few minutes it will cure to a nice flat clear. The Alclad is easy to spray on. It's ready to airbrush out of the bottle and it doesn't require thinning. I'm using my Patriot 105 airbrush set at 17 psi. To avoid orange peel, I lay down a relatively wet coat. The Alclad flows and levels nicely, and it doesn't seem to drip when applied slightly on the wet side. Here's what the flat coat looks like after curing for about a half hour. As you can see, the paint has lost its semi-gloss sheen and is slightly lighter in color. Before final assembly, it's best to let the parts cure for at least 24 hours. The longer the top coat cures, the stronger it becomes. After a day, I come back and begin the final assembly. I'm stoked. I can't wait to see the final result. And here it is, fresh out of the assembly line and ready for glorious battle. All 5 seconds of it, ready for an OP Gundam to gun it down. Unless the Honorable Lieutenant Zex himself pilots this Leo doesn't stand a chance. Still, the Leo looks fantastic. It has really come to life. I really wish Bandai would have included some decals. A couple of warning labels and ID marks would have really made the Leo that much better. However, I'm very happy with the end result. In all, it took about 7 hours spread across 4 days to build and paint the Leo, and the results were totally worth it. If you enjoyed the video and would like to see more like these, please subscribe. As usual, thank you for spending your valuable time with me, and I hope to see you here on the next video.